Okay, well, hello everybody. This is Dan King from Fist Bump Media, and I'm excited to have you here today for our next session in a series of webinars that we do. This one focusing on business strategy. Today's topic is how to use SEO keyword research to improve your website. This is really arguably one of the biggest most fundamental foundational things that we do, particularly with business websites. We even do some with writers and bloggers and stuff too, but this is a big one as it relates to kicking off your strategy in the right direction. Really, if you don't have a keyword strategy, then you're going to be just kind of spitting into the wind almost with how you try to drive traffic to your website. And it's really important to get this right, because a lot of times what we find too is that the keywords people think they should be ranking for aren't even necessarily the best opportunities to drive traffic to your website. So getting this right is really key to fueling the entire SEO strategy right out of the gates, right? So that's what we're going to dive into today, and let's take a look. Here's specifically some of the things that we're going to actually cover within the session. And first, we're going to take a look at how to discover the best keywords. I want to show you one of the tools that we use. There's a lot of them out there that do similar things, but we want to explore exactly what we do so we can kind of filter out what some of the best keywords are compared to ones that just don't mean anything, and get you a report that's actually meaningful and can give you some good guidance into the direction you need to go. Second, we're gonna, within that list of keywords, once you'll see, we develop a spreadsheet of keyword terms that are some of the best keywords that we can focus on for whatever our niche is or our topic. But within that, we're even going to identify how to find the best opportunities within that group of keywords. Some are going to be harder to rank for than others, and some are going to produce better traffic and stuff like that. So really, sometimes you may want to go for something that gets less volume because it might be easier to rank for and can drive you potentially even more traffic. So we'll take a look at that and how we can evaluate that. And then third, we're going to look at how you can do to optimize. Okay, that messed up that sentence, but or what you can do to optimize your website. So once you've identified what the best keyword terms are for you to be working on, you want to optimize your website around that and build a website strategy that's going to help you kind of hammer down and nail and target those best opportunity keywords for you, because those are really ultimately going to drive the best traffic for you over the long run. And then after that too, once we have kind of the core website structure in place, I want to talk a little bit about how you can use your blog to build even greater strength for the keyword base and stuff that you want to go for. A lot of times when we run a report like this, there could be 100, 200 words on it that could be really good terms for you to go after. Some harder to rank for, some not, whatever. But really, when you build your website, you're going to focus on a few key kind of authority terms that you really want to be your core, but there might be other like little semantically related terms and other variations and things like that you can target to really help you kind of build some strength and create more doors of opportunity for people to come into your website and drive that traffic and stuff. So this will kind of give you a really good picture of what we do when we try to run this keyword research, how we identify the right keywords, and how you can use it on the back end to really drive results for you. Cool, awesome. And then I have to say real quick too is that, like I said, we do a lot of this work. Really just about any website development project that we work on. This is really kind of the foundation for it. We do a lot of offline and stuff too, but we now have a Fiverr gig available. So for $5, you can go get one of these reports that I'll show you kind of what it looks like. and how we kind of get to that information and stuff too. But this gig will give you a list of the terms that you should go after, and I'll even highlight in there what some of your best opportunities are. So those steps 1 and 2 we'll do for you right off the bat for a $5 gig on Fiverr. So this is what that's related to. If that's something that interests you, you can do it. You can also take this information and go to some of the tools for keyword research yourself, and even implement on your own. But if you need a report, it's $5. That's all it takes to get you that report. All right. So, when it comes to discovering the best keywords, there's a few things that we kind of do to go through that process, and I'll show you this in just a moment. But just to kind of highlight, one of the things that we want to try to do is we want to try to evaluate a few things, right? We want to evaluate the seed keyword that you're going after. And the example I'm about to show you is using the term roofer, right? Say for local roofing company. Is the term roofer itself one of the best terms, or there are other variations and stuff too, but we'll use that the seed keywords like that to help kind of give us a starting point, and we'll look at things like your website to see what kind of terms your website is already ranking for. Whether it's on the first page or on page 10 of search results. But we'll take a look at that to see what kind of things Google's already kind of pegging your website and saying, this is what we think it's about. Because those would be good opportunities to really evaluate as well too. And we can even look at your competitors' websites, and sometimes we do that and evaluate, maybe a competitor that might be ranking really well for a certain term, and then see the big picture of terms that they have that they're ranking for as well too. But we'll pull all that together, and then it'll spit out a list for us too, and then we'll kind of go through and we'll weed out certain words and phrases that aren't related to your objectives. You'll see that here in a moment too as well, because we want to get a good clean list that really defines the intent of what people are looking for you. And then we'll kind of collect the best variations from those, from a broad match, from a phrase match, from an exact match perspective, and even related terms that may not even include the seed keywords specifically, but are also related that, from our databases, we can kind of figure out, terms that are related to that, that, may fit within that as well too. So we'll take a look through all of that. So this is what it looks like. Like I said, there's a lot of tools out there. We use a tool called SEMRush. And here's a search that we just did for the keyword term roofer. Okay, you can see in the U.S. and sometimes I run these for Australia, U.K., different places around the world stuff. A lot of them in the U.S. Overall U.S. search volume is 135,000 searches per month. That's everywhere in the U.S. So for a roofer that's a local business, that may not be specific, but these volumes will kind of give us a good idea of what people in general are ranking for and stuff too. Right on the bat, this is just a summary. You see some variations. You see, obviously, when I search for the term roofer, I might get things like Red Roof Inn, which is obviously a hotel. That's not part of the intent of somebody who's looking for somebody to, repair or replace the roof on their home. Dillon Roofing is a very specific one, for example. Not interested in that, right? But metal roofing or roof, those might be good types of matches. But Fiddler on the Roof, again, something else that just doesn't fit with the specific kind of thing too that we'll look at. Also, while we're here, I want to highlight some of these too, the questions. And these are questions, and we're going to come back to this in a minute, but these are questions that people are asking really by typing into Google or using voice search devices and stuff to get information about. How long does a roof last? How much does a new roof cost? These are questions that people are asking to search engines and stuff, and there's ways that we can even target those as well too. But you can see overall, if somebody's looking for metal roofing or roof, the search volume is obviously quite a bit less, but those are really high value opportunities to try to tag, some interest and stuff too. So we'll take a look at those in a moment. But let's look at some of these keyword variations. And I'll show you how we kind of work through this list to gather the right terms. We already saw right out of the gate things like Red Roof In, Fiddler on the Roof, things like that are not going to be part of what we're going for. But as we search through, we'll see things like metal roofing, and these are sorted right now by search volume. So nationally right now, 135,000 searches per month for metal roofing, roof shingles, rooftop tent, maybe I know, roofing companies near me, roofing contractors, things like that. So you kind of get an idea of the way we kind of go through and identify which ones are going to be more relevant to you. So we kind of filter out a bunch of the junk that's just not going to drive any kind of impact. It doesn't matter how you rank for a term like Red Roof In. It's just not even relevant in the first place, right? So we're going to find the relevant keywords and then pull those out. And then, like I said, we'll go through and we'll search, broad match, phrase match, exact match, and even related to kind of see what other types of terms people might be using when they're trying to look for a roofer. And as we evaluate that, we'll kind of collect, see roof repair, but not roof rack, right? Tesla solar roof. That might be a relevant thing too if you're a roofer and you're considering doing that kind of stuff. So we'll collect the right basic keywords and pull that stuff out into a spreadsheet and give us a good variety. But we could do the same type of search, like I said, not only for keyword terms, but I could plug in your website address, joeschmoeroofer.com, and get a list just like this of the terms that you're searching for, and we can kind of evaluate what kind of volume search those are getting, and a few other things too. I'm going to kind of talk about some of these other details here in a moment. But that's where we start, right? It's really important to find the terms that people are actually using to search when they're searching for things. So, for example, we don't see roofer right here towards the top of this list, but you see terms like roofing companies and roofing contractors might get more searches than just the term roofer. So that's how we identify where some of the higher value terms might actually be, because these are terms that people are actually using when they're conducting the searches. And we can see by volume that, even in this case, 74,000 people a month nationally are using the term roofing companies compared to 49,000 searching roofing contractors. So roofing companies, at least right now, seems to be a higher trend for what people are actually looking for when they're, so it might be more important to search, to optimize for roofing companies compared to roofing contractors or roofer, for example. So we'll look into that data as we identify the opportunities and how to find the best opportunities in this data right away. But a really cool, key, and very important piece of how we pull that data. Okay. So next thing is then this is what the output of that looks like, right? So as I pull all of that information out, and this is a different report, it's not using the term roofer. This is another one that we actually recently did for somebody, and it has some really good examples in here too that I want to highlight. So that's why I use this one. But this was a search for with the seed keyword term, skincare and anti-aging cream. That kind of thing too. And this is for somebody who's in Australia. So you see terms like, hand sanitizer Australia is being a term, right? So the results, we can target this down, and the volume here is how many searches are happening per month in Australia for this term. So we can even kind of localize geographically, how the search databases and stuff are working to find this information. So anyway, I'm going to jump over to a slide real quick because I want to explain this to you and what we go for, but I just want to show you real quick. This is the output. We pull all that information over into a spreadsheet, so that way we can sort and play with the data to determine what is going to be best there for how we can use that. Okay. So as we think about identifying the best opportunities, right, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rank the list by total monthly search volume. Okay. Obviously, the higher value keyword terms are going to be the ones that get used more often. Okay, so total monthly search volume is the first thing I use to rank that list out, so that we can see is something getting searched 1,000 times a month or 100 times a month. Obviously, if they're semi-related and all other things being equal, the one that's getting 1,000 searches per month compared to 100 is the one I want to try to go for. So I rank that first. So typically in a spreadsheet like this, I'll have that stuff listed at the very top, and then there's a few things that I'm going to look at. Right, in the data that I pull, we evaluate a couple different factors in there. One is keyword difficulty, and competitive density, and those are pretty similar in how they work and stuff too. But keyword difficulty is going to give us kind of a ranking for how hard is it to rank for this kind of term. So for example, when we were looking at the keyword roofer, we saw overall keyword difficulty is an 87%, shown in red here, right? And if we kind of take a look at what's good here, you see that 80 to 100% is considered very hard. 60 to 79, 60 to 80 there is considered hard. Anything under 60% is considered possible. It means it's going to be a lot easier. Under 40% is going to be easy. So you see something that if you get a term that's has good volume, and it has under 40% keyword difficulty and stuff too, that might be a really good one to target, because it's going to be very simple for you to rank. You're not going to have to do a lot of work to get there. So that keyword difficulty piece is pretty key to what we want to try to do. And get back to this. All right. So we'll look for lower keyword difficulty. Competitive density is similar. It doesn't necessarily mean it's harder to rank, but it tells us how much competition is out there trying to rank for that keyword. So again, obviously a higher number here is going to indicate an opportunity that's going to be a little bit more difficult. So we look for a little bit lower competitive density than to try to find some of the better opportunities. And then there's also a thing too that we call click potential, right? And what click potential is it's kind of an evaluation of the results that are out there. And hypothetically, if you were to get to rank number one on this, what percentage of the traffic could you maybe expect to get? So if it's 75%. Which would be really high, for any kind of ranking stuff. But if it's a 75% estimate and stuff too, you can expect to get a pretty large number of that traffic. If you're ranking number one for that term, which is great. So obviously we want a higher click potential number. But then again, it's a matter of sometimes just kind of do the math. If you have a 20% click potential on one term, and a 75% click potential on another term, but they get the same amount of search volume per month, and obviously the one that gets the 75% click potential is the better opportunity. And then from there too, you'll see this in the spreadsheet as well, is that we review a lot of the SERP features, the search engine results page features, and competitors. So you'll see that in a second too, but that's one thing. It doesn't necessarily tell us exactly what the best opportunities are, but it might help us define what strategy we use to kind of go after some of these terms. Okay, so let me jump back to that spreadsheet. So with the spreadsheet, here we go. So like I said, skincare, anti-aging cream was some of the key keywords and stuff that we were looking for. And this is done geographically for Australia. So here we see it ranked by search volume. All right, so go-to skincare gets the 22,000 plus searches per month. Sanitizer gets just under 10,000. Skincare itself gets just under 10,000. So you see some pretty high volume terms there. But then when we start looking at that keyword difficulty, looking for all three of those terms, over 80 percent on the keyword difficulty and stuff too. Even competitive density is pretty high. In this case, 1 is the highest, 0 is the lowest. So any percentage here too, again, you're looking at sort of a percentage, 80% competitive density, 84% competitive density, 100 for sanitizer. So even right off the bat, those may not be really great keywords, and you even see the click potential for them is pretty low, right? So it's on the lower end of some of the numbers we'll see in here and stuff. So it's going to be really difficult, if you try to go after those specific keywords, it's going to be really difficult to get them. And then the result is, as hard as you work for it, is going to be much, not a whole great deal of traffic in the first place, right? But then look at this next one. This is interesting too, because, again, it's a little bit of a drop off here. 8,100 searches per month, so a little bit lower than those top, 2 of those top 3 at least. But palm oil, right? But then if you would check that out, you see that, the keyword difficulty is down lower, especially compared to something. Look at that deodorant at over 90, right? So closer to 70, still in a kind of a difficult, not a very difficult, but in a difficult range. But competitive density is 0.15, so really low compared to a lot of others that we see here on the page and stuff too. So not a lot of competition going for that term. Still not a super high click potential and stuff too. But if I'm trying to evaluate, especially on the volume side, which terms are going to give me the best opportunities, palm oil might be one of them, because you see here in the top 10 or so, right? This is one that's got one of the lower keyword difficulties and low competitive density and stuff, the lowest of all of them, but still maintain the same kind of click potential level and stuff too. And let me tell you, 20% of 8,100 searches per month is going to be substantial traffic for your website. But this is a term that might be much easier to rank for than others. So I want to highlight that real quick because we're going to hold on to that and kind of come back to that. But we do the same thing. We just kind of scroll down that list and look for where those opportunities are. ASAP skincare, it's got a lower keyword difficulty but higher competitive density. I would lean towards that being a little bit more favorable and weigh that more than the competitive density, but then again, click potential is still a little bit low. Maybe not a great keyword to go for, right? And you see a lot of others bounce pretty high. This seems to be a pretty competitive niche and stuff, right? Here's one that's interesting too, because it might give you some niche ideas, or niche, however you want to pronounce it and stuff. Cruelty-free shop, very low competitive density and stuff. Not a ton of traffic, but it's still a little bit high on the keyword difficulty, but could be a decent term to go after. There's not a lot of people going after that term, right? Things like hydration. Look at this one, right? So keyword difficulty is still going to be a little on the higher end, right? Might be considered pretty tough to rank for, but 3,600 searches per month, not a lot of competition out there really trying to go for it, and a 70% click potential and stuff. So a much higher number for that click potential and stuff. So that might be one that I try to highlight as well too, because if we're talking about skincare, anti-aging stuff too, you start to see a trend where some of these terms, I could have a page on my website about hydration as a skincare kind of focus, and and that might give me some pretty decent opportunity there, right? I'm going to jump down the list here a little bit more too, because there's some stuff in here specifically that I wanted to show, because especially these higher volume terms show a very high keyword difficulty and combination and or of the competitive density and stuff. But let's get down here. See, and this might be a brand name one too, but DMK skincare, right? 61 on the keyword difficulty and 0.2 on the competitive density. Still a little bit lower on the click potential and stuff, but definitely kind of seeing some stuff as we get a little bit lower in the volume that might provide some really good opportunities. And look at this one. This is one I want to really try to highlight. Look at that. Palm oil products. We saw palm oil up here, right, as being a better opportunity, lower on the click potential side, right? But the other numbers were great. But look at this, under 70 for palm oil products, 67. So one of the better scores that we see on here. 0.13 for competitive density, and a 100 for the click potential, right? So very high click potential. And this is an interesting thing too. This is one of those opportunities that I was talking about before. If you look at, the skincare company, again, probably a brand name, right? Comparable on keyword difficulty, comparable on competitive density, pretty low there, but then the click potential is much lower, right? So 20% there, not a term that I would really consider, even though it's much easier. If I got to choose, I'm going to choose palm oil products, right? So I'm going to highlight that one too as well. So sometimes going down the list a little bit might start to reveal better opportunities for you to rank terms. Better opportunities for to rank for terms that they don't get as much search volume, but can drive substantial traffic to your website and might be a lot easier for you to rank. So even expanding on palm oil products might be a really, really great term to go after. Okay. I also mentioned too, aside from the numbers, a few factors here too, the SERP features, right? And take a look at one of the others too, and take a look at competitors. Okay, so for each of these terms, I think it's really interesting is the SERP features. When you go to Google and you do a search, it's usually not just search results. Sometimes you might get the big featured answer right up top. Sometimes you might get a list of 4 questions or so that people also ask, and has some questions in there. Remember that, questions. We were taking a look at those here a minute ago. But questions people might ask, site links, video carousel. Video carousel, I mean, that's pulling videos from YouTube. Google owns YouTube, right? So it makes sense that maybe they're pulling video search results into the Google search results and stuff too. So if you have videos on YouTube related to this, they could potentially rank as part of video carousel for that term stuff. Top story, knowledge panel, these are all different elements that you see around the pages and stuff too, and that can help shape some of the strategy and stuff too. Hydration might be one that I can go a little bit deeper into and do a search just for hydration, really just so that I can find the questions, find those questions that people are asking, because there's an opportunity here for people also ask, and that's something that we'll see that when I talk about blogging here in a minute too. We can develop blog posts that address that kind of stuff, to deal with that. Let's jump down here to our palm oil products. There's a featured snippet, and people also ask. So there's some opportunities to not just get in the rankings, just in the regular search results, but to get some of these really featured snippet type opportunities that are better. That featured snippet piece, the piece that shows up top that kind of describes palm oil products, for example, in a search before the search results, we call that position 0. That's gold, right? But in order to do that, you have to create the best kind of resource that you can in order to rank for that term. Now, how do you do that? That's one of the other things here too, is when we look at the spreadsheet, we also see things like the competitors. Okay, the competitor stuff here is fantastic, because we'll find links in there to pages that are already ranking on the first page for those terms. This is really, really good information, because now you have an opportunity to use that to go evaluate some of those pages and to understand why are they ranking on the first page for this term, because the whole game is going to be how can I build a better resource than they have to get myself ranked on those pages. Okay, so that's how we use that that data to evaluate and identify the best terms. All right, so let me get back to so from there, let's take a look at how to optimize your website for the keywords. All right, so there's a little bit of a strategy that we use here too. When we identify some of the core keywords, and I'm going to go back and use a roofer example here. You want to get pretty strategic about what you do with the home page. You might take one of those core keywords, something like roofing contractor, roofing company, whether it's going to provide the higher volume stuff too. Sometimes I look at building a website and I don't even try to rank the home page for any keyword other than the brand name, for example, and that's a really kind of key important piece too. But if you do focus on any kind of keyword, it should be the overall kind of big picture of who you are, what you are, kind of thing too. So for a roofer, for example, the main keyword there might be roofing contractor. What does a roofing contractor do? Well, they do a few things, right? And we'll see this kind of stuff in the keyword reports and stuff too. Is people are searching for roof replacement, they might be searching for roof repair, they might be searching for roof inspections, so they might be searching for a variety of things. So what I like to do then is structure the website so you have the home page, and then maybe part of your header menu is going to be linking to maybe a few key pages. Key pages like roof replacement, roof repair, roof inspection. Okay, whatever those things are, the things that you do, that should be your main service level, what you do or the product you offer, the service you offer, something along those lines. But focus on some of those high value keywords that you want to try to target. Okay. So create a list of authority pages like that. Now, I'd like to, especially initially early on, target maybe 2 to 3 kind of main kind of key authority page kind of keyword terms that you can build, and then those kind of pointing to the home page, basically, right, is kind of giving value to it. As a roofing contractor, I do roof replacement, roof repair, and roof inspections, right? So it kind of creates this hierarchy that even gives roofing contractor more authority because they know what roofing contractor does. It does these 3 things, okay? And then even within that, you can build out a strategy to say something like roof repair. Well, let's create sub pages that kind of branch off of that and say, all right, well, we do shingle roof repair, or we do tile roof repair. Those are much lower keyword volume terms that you could go after. If they provide good opportunities for you, you could build a page that could rank. So your tile roof repair page could rank on its own, but it also gives authority as well to these are different things that we do for roof repair. So amplifies the authority for your roof repair page, and it also then further amplifies your whole roofing contractor. So it's all about kind of pushing that authority to where it needs to go in a very strategic way, but creating resources that could rank on their own as well too, right? So really, ideally, if somebody's searching for tile roof repair for their home, your home page shouldn't be the one that's showing up. Your tile roof repair page should be the one that's showing up. Okay, so that's the way those pages work and stuff, and they kind of build the overall authority for your site. And then even with that, once you have a core structure of pages, and this is something that can even grow over time. We work with some clients where we just start, let's build that 2 or 3 kind of authority page kind of structure. And then over time, maybe in a few months from now, we're seeing more in the search data too. Let's build a couple more pages that kind of lend towards that, like the shingle roof repair, the tile roof repair, or whatever. But over time too, it's really important that you have a blog strategy. This is going to be a key element in building your overall strength for that, because as you see from the graphic here, the blog post too, that you can write a blog post that kind of covers the topic about roof replacement. Maybe you have a blog post about shingle roof repair, or one about tile roof repair, or one about roof inspections and stuff too. And it's those posts which can focus on specific questions that dive even deeper and can become their own entry points, right? As people do a search, that blog post shows up in the search results but that also then pushes that authority too. It's like, hey, this is another resource that's linking to and pointing to our roof replacement page as part of the strategy, right? So if I have a blog post about, hey, here's 5 things to look for, if you think you might have broken tiles on your roof, if that's a question people are asking, that will basically push people to the tile roof repair page on the website. When they land there, learn more about our tile roof repair service. So even from a user experience perspective, it's something that lends to really kind of driving towards those other pages. So it's one of the ways the blog strategy helps. It helps you kind of niche down, become the answer to questions, and continue to drive to services and stuff that you offer. Okay. So that's kind of in a nutshell, right? It's all about building the layers of authority, and using different pages and posts to target various keywords, especially on the longer tail, the more specific keyword terms that you want to rank for. All right, so now let's talk about blogging for strength, right? And there's one other thing too, even when it comes to keyword structure and stuff too, here's another example too, because I even want to show you in a blog post, how you can do this as well too. And this is something I like to do within a blog post, is create, there's a lot of different names for it too, but it's kind of an authority post, if you will, right? So this is, get rid of that. And this is a blog post on my personal blog, right, about lament. Lament is the term that I'm kind of going after. And I've been working on a series of blog posts. I preached a sermon at my church on the topic and stuff. So I create a blog post about this topic, and I want this blog post to be one of the most authoritative resources out there for this topic, right? So I've got it titled that way. I get the term lament, and this is stuff that we kind of cover when we talk about a blog post structure and stuff too as well, in header text, within the text and stuff too. But I create a series, and some people might call this a skyscraper or something like that too as well. But these are all kind of subtopics and stuff too, where I have a series that I'm writing of individual blog posts that talk about different elements and perspectives on lament, right? So all of these are about lament, but how to read the book of Psalms, for example, is not lament, right? Story about, David and when he fled from his son, Absalom. It's not about lament, right? But those are parts of it, so that people can kind of learn different elements of stuff as we go along. So I'm going to create a resource, and this is a whole series of blog posts that I'm writing, and people can navigate to, and I'm linking to all of these other resources on lament from this one blog post. I'm putting images on the page that have to do with lament and are kind of named and tagged that way too. I've got a video from YouTube that I've embedded onto the page about lament, right? So really ultimately I'm trying to create the ultimate resource. I may add more images and maybe more videos, whatever, and all these links and stuff too. And in fact, I can even then, as a resource, when I'm done with this whole series of blog posts, maybe I can slap that together and put it in an ebook or something like that, publish it up on Amazon, and I create another resource that I can link to from this page, saying, hey, here's an ebook on lament and stuff, and creating other offsite links and stuff that I'm pointing to. So really this becomes the one big resource for focusing on that keyword. It takes some time to develop that kind of content, but that's another great way you can target some of those keywords and say, hey, if I'm going for something about roof repair, or if I'm going something for about anti-aging cream and moisturizers and palm oil, moisturizer or whatever and stuff, I can create resources about that. You can take that whole palm oil kind of idea and create a series, similar to this, a great resource page to post on the web. Okay. So let's take a look at blogging, kind of building off of that. When you think about keyword research, you want to focus on how you can blog for strength and build that strength, build that kind of additional keyword base that's going to plug authority and stuff like that to the other pages on your website, but can also create opportunities for that content to stand alone. Okay, so I'm going to jump back over to SEMRush here, and also actually before that, just a kind of a quick shout out too. I even have a webinar about how blogging impacts your business and how to do it right? So it's another free webinar too. If you check out our webinar library at fistbumpmedia.com, you'll see we cover some really great stuff too that really kind of dives pretty deep into this topic right here and how you use blog posts and stuff too. But part of it is kind of going back to keyword research, very much like this and what we're talking about. Okay. So one of the things we're going to do is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to identify opportunities in the questions. Okay. Remember, actually, we'll jump over to SEMRush here real quick too. You remember when we did this keyword research and stuff too, there were some questions here. How to install metal roofing? How long does a roof last? How much does a new roof cost? How much is a new roof? Why does the roof of my mouth hurt? Obviously not a term that we're going after, so we filter that one out. But we go after these ones because look at that. Those are some pretty high volume searches that are happening that people are asking. They're asking their devices. They're going on Google and actually typing in a search for how long does a roof last? I need to know this. The roof on my house is 10 years old. Should it last longer than that? Am I having problems, or should I be thinking about replacement stuff? So they'll ask that question because maybe there's something going on that's keying them to wonder and to figure out if they're going to need a replacement or not. Okay, so we take those questions and we can use those. And one of the big things then is we take those questions and we create a content template. Okay. And it's another gig that we have over on Fiverr. I'll show it to you real quick too, but this is stuff that you can kind of almost pull together on your own a little bit as well. But we do. It's a $5 gig that we can take some of those keywords and create a template for you. And I'm actually going to show you one here in a moment. But then we have some variations of that too, where we can create that template and we can write a 500-word blog post or a 1,000-word blog post and stuff for you. Focus on that keyword using all of this information that we're gonna pull. All right. So the content template, for example, using those keyword terms, I went ahead and pulled one of these questions and I ran it through my tools to create a template. How long does a roof last? Okay. So this is going to kind of basically break out for me some pretty important elements for how we go after this and give me some good resources to start with, so I know how to create a blog post, an effective blog post on this topic. You can even title your blog post, how long does a roof last? And maybe throw in the ultimate guide, or whatever, but if you use that term as part of the blog post title, that'll be a big thing. Put it in the description that's going to show up in the search results. Make sure it's in your, H1 tags, which will be the title and stuff like that. But then here's some text elements and stuff too. So here's a few pieces that we spit out when we do this kind of content template. One is to try to acquire backlinks from the following domains. Now this is typically just kind of a rough suggestion because what it does is it's partly evaluating some of the existing top 10 ranking rivals for that keyword term and understanding where their backlinks are coming from. Okay, so it's not necessarily specific to you have to get links from these people. It's always important to get backlinks back to your content. There's a lot of ways you can do that. It doesn't necessarily have to be specifically from them, but it kind of gives you some ideas because those are places that might be linking to these blog posts or these pages or blog posts or whatever that are already out there. Okay. But here's a big one, right? Enrich your text with the following semantically related keywords. Okay, so when I talk about how long does a roof last, I might, maybe I list it out. I see metal roofing in there too. Maybe part of the blog post is about how long does a metal roof last? How long do different types of roof last? Does my roof need roof repairs? right? Terms that I see in there, right? So you can mix this kind of stuff up, or mix these terms in. Don't feel like you need to work them all in, but you can already see how, even looking at some of these terms might give me a little bit of a flow of what the blog post might be. Metal roofing, I see tile roofs, talking about roofing materials, right? Asphalt shingle roofs. Again, maybe that's a list of, how long does a roof last? How long do metal roofs last? How long do tile roofs last? How long do asphalt shingle roofs last? All these different things. Does roof maintenance impact how long my roof lasts, right? How does, the quality of my roof, impact energy efficiency? Again, that's a term that's not even related to roofing, right? But are terms that you can kind of build in that will help the search engines kind of index this and go, yes, you need to, work these kinds of terms in to help us understand. It's going to help you build stronger content that's going to rank really well. Okay. Here's another one of the things too that's really important in this is focus on creating more informative content. Recommended text length 912 words. Okay, so this is again evaluating the top 10 ranking pages for that and how much text is on those pages. So something like this might be, a 500 word blog post may not have a strong chance of ranking. A 1,000-word blog post might have a much stronger chance of ranking for this term. Typically, a little bit the longer, the better, usually. But again, you don't want to make it longer just for the sake of making it longer. It needs to be strong and informative content. Okay. There are other elements in here too that you can use as rough guides. This even gets into the readability score. The Flesch-Kincaid's readability test. There's a lot of tools. I know the Yoast plugin, other SEO type plugins, in WordPress, can even kind of evaluate that and tell you what your Flesch-Kincaid score is for it stuff too. So it's a target, but it's really kind of trying to evaluate, the existing ranking blog post out there to what their reading levels are at. What you can read at. The most important thing is you just write naturally for your reader. Imagine the person who's looking for this, sitting on the other end, a homeowner thinking, how long does a roof last? I need to get educated on this. You're creating a resource for them, right? And add that keyword in there, at least one time. Another big element of this too is just evaluating, the pages that are currently ranking for that. You could just take your keyword term and just go to Google and just do a search and see who's ranking top 10 for that. All right, but this will pull that together and it'll even summarize and pull some of that text, from those pages, so you can see, what text they're writing about stuff and kind of play with that and evaluate that. This is what we provide in this content template. So that all of that information together should help you shape and form a really strong blog post. Ultimately, in the end, you see how we kind of broke this down to that it might be how long do different types of roofs last. Should be about 1,000-word blog post, and then you kind of go from there. Okay, so that's the get a content template. Evaluate the currently ranking competitors you see on that template. Really important to check out those pages to understand why they are ranking, what's making them rank 1, 2, or 3 or something like that too, because the idea is going to be, can you use all of that information that you just gathered from this content template stuff and how you can guide that and create a better resource for them than what's especially in those top 3 positions. And that's what it's all about. Is you need to create a better resource. That's one thing that's going to help you too when you start looking at some of the SERP feature pieces. When we look at where we go, it's on the spreadsheet. When we look at some of these SERP feature pieces, people also ask, the questions they're asking. Some of the knowledge panel stuff, the featured, the featured, post and stuff like that, site links, those things, top stories, all of those elements are going to be part of opportunities that you have to create better content. If you can create a better resource than what's showing up there, a better answer to the question than what's already there, then you have an opportunity to rate much higher in those search results. And then just as a quick bonus note on that, build backlinks to your post, right? The backlinks are still always a signal to the search engines that the page you have is authoritative and it's worthwhile because other people are linking to it and doing that. And then there's ways that we can help kind of create backlinks and stuff too. But to give you an idea, one of the reasons it's important, I've done a lot of this process myself too for certain terms. I create a big resource blog post and stuff too that's even a big lead magnet for me. They have a free download on it and all that stuff. It's not a free download that I offer everywhere. It's just on that blog post. But then I spent a little time and effort creating some backlinks, and it was a little bit of an initial time investment and resource investment. If you're hiring us to do it, just a little financial investment to do that, to help kind of create some of the backlink structure and flow to give that authority. But then that sucker started ranking on the first page, and now I'm not doing anything with it, and it's regularly driving lots of great search results for me. So yeah, definitely a big deal. As you create your content, definitely think about the tail end and not just publish it, and then that's going to take care of everything. Drive some backlinks, and that'll really boost your results for that. All right. So with that, that's what we have today, right? So hopefully this is giving you a plan for how you can use keyword research to really identify the best opportunities for you to capture the best traffic that you can for your website, and then how you can use that information to build a strong structure for your website, and then even continue to fuel it over time with blog posts. If you can do 1 or 2 or 3 blog posts per month or something like that, using that strategy and using that kind of core keywords, pulling the questions that people are asking stuff and answering those, that's something that's just going to over time just become rocket fuel for your search engine strategy and building a really phenomenal resource for you and stuff. So with that, I just want to say thanks. You're awesome. It's always a pleasure doing these things with you. And if you have any questions, just give us a shout out. Always happy to help out. But check out that gig on Fiverr. Should be linked on the webinar page here below and stuff. So thanks, and big fist bump for you. Boom.